You ever worked a late shift? You know that feeling. The quiet hum of the lights, the empty hallways, that sense that you're the only person awake for miles. It can be kind of peaceful, or it can be absolutely terrifying. Today, we're going to dig into the unique horror of the night shift and break down exactly what makes these stories so incredibly chilling. So, let's start with the big question. Why is working alone at night so scary? Is it really just that we're afraid of the dark? Or is there something else going on, something deeper and more psychological, when you're all by yourself on the clock after midnight?
And right there, that's the heart of it. The real terror isn't about what you can't see in the shadows. Nope. It's about the stomach-churning possibility that you aren't as alone as you think you are. It's a fear of the unknown human element.
Okay, so to really get these stories, we have to understand the setting first. Think about it. You've got isolation. You've got that profound, deep silence. And you've got darkness all around. It's like the perfect recipe for fear. It just strips away all our usual defenses and makes every little creak, every shadow feel 10 times bigger. The people in the stories we're looking at today are all from different jobs, but they all share one thing. They work the night shift, and they are often completely, utterly alone. They're the guardians of these quiet, empty spaces. So let's see what happens when that quiet gets broken. So where's the horror actually start? Well, it's almost never with a big jump scare. It begins quietly. It starts when the normal, boring, everyday routine of the job gets disrupted in a way that's just not right. Let's take the story of Thomas, a drive-thru worker. The first time a guy orders a Whopper, pays for it, and then just drives off without the food, it's just weird, right? Annoying, maybe? The second time it happens, you might think, wow, what are the odds? But by the third and then the fourth time, this isn't a coincidence anymore. This strange pattern has turned into a deeply unsettling ritual. This guy isn't a customer. He's something else. Now, let's switch over to a security guard in this enormous, empty warehouse. Here, the fear builds almost like a set of instructions. It starts with just a motion alert from one camera, over and over. Easy to write off as a glitch, right? But then, you hear an impossible sound from deep inside the locked building. A loud, metallic scraping. And then the camera feed itself, it goes black. And when it comes back on, it's been moved. The pattern isn't just broken. You get the feeling it's being controlled. And this right here is the turning point. This is the moment when a strange situation crosses a really important line. It's no longer just odd or confusing. It becomes a direct, personal threat, a violation of your safety. For Thomas at the Burger King, this was that moment. After weeks of these silent, bizarre drive-thru visits, the mystery man finally speaks. And with this one sentence, he just shatters the glass between an anonymous worker and a person who is being targeted. The whole game has changed. And let's break down why that is so terrifying. A customer seeing your first name on your name tag, that's totally normal. But knowing your last name, Hurley, that's not. This person has done their homework. They've crossed from public information into private, and that implies a level of surveillance that is just deeply, deeply frightening. Now, this kind of personal threat can also show up disguised as help. Picture this. An Uber driver, alone on a dark country road, gets flagged down by a couple. They seem frantic. Their story? A bridge up ahead has collapsed. But don't worry, they have a solution. A little shortcut down a narrow, unlit dirt road. It's a classic test of trust, isn't it? Do you believe these helpful strangers, or do you listen to that sinking feeling in your gut? And this is the decision that matters. The driver listens to his gut, ignores their advice, keeps going, and what does he find? The bridge is perfectly fine. The help was a lie. That deserted dirt road wasn't a detour, it was the destination. It was a trap. You know, the trust we have to place in people at night is so fragile, and here, it was almost used as a weapon against him. So we've seen patterns break. We've seen threats get way too personal. But what happens when the source of the fear isn't hiding anymore? When they're right there in front of you, behaving in a way that just makes no sense at all? Our last story kicks off with a simple observation. A gym attendant sees a guy on a treadmill running at 9 miles per hour. Now that's not a jog. That is a full-on, punishing sprint for pretty much anyone. And that's the first little detail that just feels off. But here's the thing. He doesn't stop. For over 15 minutes, he keeps up this insane pace, doesn't slow down, doesn't even look like he's breathing hard. The endurance itself seems unnatural. Now, it's not just impressive, it's genuinely unsettling. And then, the attendant gets a closer look, and he sees the one detail that just throws this whole thing into the realm of pure body horror. The man is sprinting at this incredible speed for this impossible amount of time with no shoes on, barefoot. When the attendant finally leaves his office to go check on the guy, the reality is so much worse than he could have imagined. The machine is splattered with blood. The man's feet are literally being torn apart with every single step, but his face is just a cold, blank mask, his mouth wide open, totally oblivious to what should be agonizing pain. The attendant yells at him, tells him to stop, but the man doesn't even turn his head. He just mutters the same phrase over and over in this cold, raspy voice, without even panting. Are you there? It's this chilling, robotic response that just confirms this person is not on our planet right now. And then, all of a sudden, the Nan stops staring into space and looks directly into the security camera, right at the attendant watching him. Then he just hops off the treadmill and sprints into a hallway that's supposed to be locked, keycard access only. The terror all comes to a head with him screaming, this deep, inhuman sound, while he violently tries to break down the office door. You know, in all of these stories, the immediate danger does pass. The door holds, the car drives away. But the terror? That doesn't end there. In fact, you could argue the most frightening part is what comes next. The silence, the total lack of answers, and that haunting question of what if. See, there's no neat ending to any of these stories. The stalker who knows where Thomas lives, still out there somewhere. The unhinged man from the gym, he just vanishes before the police can get there. The warehouse intruder was never found, and we will never know what that couple on the road really wanted. This complete lack of closure, that's its own kind of psychological torture. And I think that really gets us to the core of what makes these stories stick with us. A confrontation, no matter how scary, at least it has an end. But the true, lasting horror of the night shift, it comes from the encounter that never gets solved. It's the knowledge that the person who targeted you is still out there, and you will never, ever know why. So that's what I really want to leave you with. Just think about it for a second. The threat you actually confront and manage to overcome, that can become a story of survival, of strength. But the threat that just melts back into the darkness, leaving nothing but questions behind, that story,